A global hub of commerce, culture, and opportunity, New York City has attracted Muslims from all over the world. New York is also a place of unique challenges, with its skyscraping cost of living and its status as the capital of capitalism. I've come here to discover what it's like to be a Muslim in New York City. Altogether, there are about 200 masajid in New York City and almost 1 million Muslims. This accounts for nearly a quarter of all the Muslims in the United States as a whole. New York City is made up of 5 distinct boroughs. Of these 5, Queens is the most diverse borough, where over 138 languages are spoken daily. As home to 2 major airports of New York City, Queens has emerged as one of the biggest immigration hubs in America. Thousands of people move here every year hoping to start new lives, and it shows in the vast diversity of people, food, and culture of this vibrant borough.
Manhattan is the image. The people in New York, I think, are the boroughs.
I actually had this one couple, they came and made a video on the store because they're trying to eat all the world's food while staying in Queens.
Wow.
So, they've accomplished most of the country so far.
I started out in Astoria, a Middle Eastern and North African hub in northwest Queens. Here I met with Ilyas, an Algerian content creator, and his friend Mateen, who helps his dad run a local Algerian eatery in Astoria, named Merguez and Frit.
Sandwich with fries. All that. Brasilia. All that.
Bismillah.
Food review. Merguez and Frit, Queens, New York. Come check it out if you haven't already. It's like you're back home in Algeria, bro. Well, amazing. Everybody parents in New York more often than not come from somewhere else. Yeah. Like nobody is like, yeah, my dad bought this house 50 years ago. Like nobody is really like that over here. It's like we all came here from poor countries trying to make a life for ourselves. So I think you surround yourself with people who want better, who want to, respect what their parents did by coming to a new country. Yeah. If an immigrant comes, in my head, like, not to say they're my father or my mother, but like that's the step my parents took, and I would do for them the way I wish somebody would have done for my parents or did for my parents, not that I know, but like if you need a hand or anything, let me know. I probably know better than you, I probably know more than you, and I can take you there, so definitely immigrant or somebody who's less known, definitely try to give them a step up, better their life, for sure.
When you go back home, you sort of see what you were taking for granted, right?
Home like Algeria?
Yeah,
for sure, bro. Going home, bro, it's a shame what we doing over here, bro. It's like, make you want to come back and just put your head down and do things the right way. Life is just not sweet over there. The water doesn't work, water coming out brown. Over here, bro, like things we don't even think about. You go to the bathroom, wash your hands, but a lot of people can't do that.
Yeah.
In Algeria, bro, I remember we used to shower, but we used to boil water and then shower with that water. Like, feel me? Boil it, mix it with cold water, and then kind of get it leveled, and then shower with a tub of, like a basket of water, bro, a bucket of water. It's just things so simple like that we take for granted.
Seeing your parents work hard, does that motivate you to work hard?
Yeah, it motivates you to work hard, and when you do some dumb things, you kind of look at yourself like, yo, bro, what am I doing? Like, I'm disrespecting myself and my parents at the same time, There's kids who grew up same neighborhoods as me, same religion, same everything, but, they out there smoking weed, drinking, which, that's their life, that's their choice, but me personally, we grew up through the same blueprint, but I'm not doing none of that, so I think it's all like...
So what do you think was the difference? Was it your parents, how they raised you?
Yeah, my parents for sure played a role in that, and it's also like, it's yourself, like, I've seen a lot of kids with strict parents just get even sneakier because their parents are strict, so it's all in yourself, it's what you feel like you want to do. I feel like Islam helps me a lot too, because, whatever we have in this life, rich, poor, gang banging, a civilian, educated or not, when we all die, bro, we all gonna get tried the same way,
We later hit up a popular local dessert place for their famous knack.
Alright, let's do it.
Let's do it.
متمسكه بنفس البروعه مفيش عندي مشكله البناء بس ناوي اذا اخذت الجرين كارد ناوي انزل على طول المغرب السنه
The hard one is actually good too. You know, if you like the crispiness, it's good. But the soft one, it's warm. It's nice and like the cheese just pulls. It's so good.
As the nightly hookah scene got started, I went over to Al Iman Mosque on Steinway, one of the biggest masjids in Astoria.
كل جبال كل نجوم كل بالأمر لكن أنت مصنعية يد الله سبحانه وتعالى خلقتك بيدي وأسجدت لك ملائكتي وربنا كرم بني آدم حملناه في البر والبحر.
Welcome to Jackson Heights. From Astoria, I hopped on the subway to Jackson Heights, a dense immigration hub in the backyard of the busy LaGuardia Airport. Here, I met with Hasib, a Queens native of Afghani descent.
When was the last time you went to Afghanistan?
I've only been there once, and I went there in '02.
Okay.
Yeah, it was right after, right when the U.S. went in, and we went to visit my grandparents. Well, our family, yeah. We went to visit them.
How's your family doing right now?
I don't really have too much family left there. I have, my dad's cousins and some of my mom's family as well. They're doing okay. I mean, it's a little tough now. I have family in like India, and most of them in the U.S., Australia, Japan.
Wow, even Japan.
Yeah, Iran. Well, I don't know about Iran as much now, but yeah, Iran also. Some people moved to Pakistan. So yeah, all over the place. I bet you if you asked many of them, they would prefer to go back to Afghanistan because it's home. But out of necessity, people have to do what they have to do.
Yeah.
We sat for dinner at Kabab King, a longtime Pakistani establishment at the center of Jackson Heights' South Asian community.
I mean, when I was a kid, they used to have commercials on TV, and that was in the 90s, early 2000s. So they've probably been here at least since then.
It's definitely a Jackson Heights institution.
It's an establishment, yeah, for sure.
And it's right on this crossroads by the subway, so it's like the first thing you see when you come off the
Yup.
subway.
Great location, and I mean, if you see, it's such a big location too, right? Like, not many places can claim in the city to have such a huge.
Yeah, I was shocked when I went up the stairs and saw how big it was.
Yeah.
Like,
We ordered the garlic naan, sesame naan, goat curry, and a mixed grill platter.
so this is the tandoori chicken. You wanna try the tandoori chicken?
Right? It's a spot.
Wow. So tender, right?
Yeah. Cut that through.
So how's the goat curry?
Man, the goat curry was really good. A plus for me.
Let's try the goat curry. Bismillah. Wow, has a strong cinnamon flavor. The cinnamon flavor goes like so good with the goat. Like it's just never thought about it, but it goes really well together.
I would never have
Yeah,
thought to do that.
yeah. Because like the goat has, some people think it has like a gamey flavor sometimes, but the cinnamon flavor I feel like offsets that a lot.
For dessert, we had the gulab jamun, chai, and kheer.
What makes a good rice pudding?
So, man, you're asking a lot of tough questions. I like it when it's thick, not too watery. And then I think a balance of like the sweetness, not too sweet, but a balance of sweet, and then just the other things they add on top of it.
Yeah, the topping.
The top, that makes it good.
Can you move it with a spoon so we can see how thick it is?
Yeah, this is good stuff right here.
That's the good stuff.
That's the good stuff right there. It's, since Eid is on Saturday, Jackson Heights is always, lively, and you have people in the streets doing henna and selling just accessories and clothing and all that stuff. It gets really lively. I mean, it's always packed, but there's a different energy during Eid.
So the people are Eid shopping now?
Yeah, I mean, if you look outside, they have all these clothing out here.
Being in an environment that's similar to your parents' country helps you sort of understand the environment that they grew up in.
Yeah, absolutely. You always hear the stories from your family about how it was, but yeah, living in like a neighborhood that has stores that, you know, have things from your country and people speaking your language and the food, it helps you kind of visualize it and live it also.
On the other side of Jackson Heights, on Northern Boulevard, is a huge Latino community. Part of this community is Carla, a Bolivian immigrant and a first-generation Muslim.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to Islam?
Yes, so I became Muslim when I was 19. My sister was going to UB and she decided to become Muslim. And she came to tell us about Islam and I had a completely terrible view of it. Because I was like, oh my God, it's going to be terrible, specifically because of the way it's sold and portrayed to us in the West. But then I went to visit her at UB and she was part of the MSA. I had no intention, I wasn't even a practicing Catholic, I didn't really think about religion very much. I knew that there was a creator and that was it. But when I met my sister's friends at the MSA, I was really impressed. I met all these women who were becoming doctors, nurses, lawyers, architects, and they just didn't care about, be looking good. Not that they didn't care about looking good, but they didn't. It's like, you know how they say the veil is lifted, once you realize what the truth is. And I'm like, these girls don't care anything about this dunya. They just wanted to prepare for this world, they're gonna live forever, but prepare for the akhirah. And I thought that was just brilliant. I love the way they carry themselves. They didn't care about, anything that is worldly. And I was really, really impressed with that. And that's what initially drew me to Islam.
Carla's job as a public school teacher ensures that she comes into contact with new immigrants on a frequent basis.
I work at a public school. So when a lot of parents, newcomers come, they immediately go to our school because that's our zone school. So I meet a lot of families who are coming from Ecuador, who are coming from El Salvador, who are coming from Colombia. A lot of Ecuadorians specifically during these past months. And they tell you, we just got here 6 weeks ago and, I met their kids and it's really amazing because they don't speak a word of English. And I remember being in that exact same situation, coming here and not knowing one word of English and just having to start all over again. And it's just this, just sense of we have to just get it done. I get to meet, I would say, every week a new family because of that role. The hustle is real here. There is everything and anything. People really try hard to really make ends meet here because the pandemic really hit our neighborhood hard. I'm not sure if you're aware, Jackson Heights and East Elmhurst, it really devastated us. We were the center of the epicenter, right? In terms of how many these students lost their parents, and it was just a lot of food insecurity. So we're still bouncing back. But despite that, people are still coming.
Do you think the American dream is still alive here?
I want to say, if the dream is to have access, yes. Because one thing, yes, if you know the right people, if you know your rights, you can have access to a lot of things. And that's one of the reasons, I'm a huge advocate for public schools. Build our public school because that's where you have access. You connect, we have fantastic family workers, social workers who connect people to give them access to resources. Even though we have a clear class system here, we have a clear hierarchy here, and you have to really work hard to break through, right? In Bolivia, it's even more so. It's very, very difficult for you to, if you're in one class, it's very difficult for you to be able to go to the next level, to let's say become middle class. I think the economic system is one of the biggest hurdles, because you also have a lot of latent racism against the indigenous people, and we have a lot of colonial mentality still left over, where, you know, because we were colonized by the Spanish, we still have this, the lighter is better, the type of Spanish you speak is better, you know, the way you carry yourself is better. That still exists. So it's really difficult for someone who's very indigenous, who wants to wear the braids, who, you know, wants to carry on their culture, to kind of ascend. I think that is the main difference there. And I think that's why people come here.
For my last stop, I head to the very outskirts of Queens to meet with an old acquaintance, Sabih Ahmed. Sabih takes me to his favorite pizza place in the entire city, New Park Pizza in Howard Beach, Queens.
So, a couple years ago, I broke my finger playing basketball. My sister brought me to the urgent care right across the street, and wasn't a lot of pain. They wrapped the finger up, and as we were leaving, we're driving by, we're at the red light. I'm in so much pain, but I looked at my sister, and in fact, she said she already knew what was coming, and I was like, pull over right now, because when you're in Howard Beach, Queens, no matter what the situation, you cannot leave here without getting New Park Pizza.
Alright, so how do you eat a New York slice of pizza?
There's only one way to eat a New York slice of pizza. So you put your thumb right in the middle, right here. Might want to make sure you get a great grip. Fold it in half. It's kind of like when you were a kid and you used to make a paper airplane. Just like that. Wow. Never disappoints. It's not like Chicago pizza where they got like the ingredients placed all backwards. They got the sauce on top, the crust on top, the cheese on the bottom.
That's not pizza.
It's not pizza.
Bismillah.
Proof? I'm always so amazed. Like, how do they keep up this quality? Everything.
I first met Sabih 6 years ago when we were volunteers at the same organization called Young Muslims. As my senior, Sabih was involved in the earliest days of the now national organization.
You know, the origin of YM is a funny thing. It depends on what what madhab you're following, right? There are a lot of differences of opinions out there, but one thing that kind of everybody agrees on across the United States and across all the YM chapters. In the early 90s, there were so many youth organizations across the U.S. There was one called Young Muslims for Faith in Action, which originated in Chicago. There was another youth organization in New Jersey, obviously here in New York. We definitely had a lot going on here as well, but as a way to kind of unite, these organizations came together and said, hey, rather than being separated, they wanted to put an emphasis on an organization being run nationally for the youth, by the youth, right? And giving the youth a support system that they couldn't really find anywhere else. So when I first started, I was part of Jamaica Queens NeighborNet out of Ikna Marcos headquarters in Queens, which is actually, and again, depends on the mother we follow, but a lot of the YM scholars will say, Jamaica Queens is where the first NeighborNet originated. But so I was involved there for about 10 years or so. Being, especially in New York City, right, there's always something going on. And one of the things we tried to do across New York was making sure that YM was always on a Friday night. Throughout the whole week, they're exposed to so much, right, in school on a day-to-day basis, and there's so much going on around you, there's so much peer pressure, but there's one thing that you're always looking forward to is being in that YM environment, right, where it's I know when I go here, I'm comfortable being Muslim, I'm comfortable being who I am, right, whereas in school a lot of people will put up, that front or that barrier, right?
Yeah. One thing that's so important about YM is that it reminds you on a weekly basis about Allah and about your religion, your faith. And when you're a kid, there's so many other things you could be thinking about, especially in New York. There's so many there's so much noise and lights and people and activities just all vying for your attention. It can be easy, even as an adult, to forget about Allah sometimes.
But just that reminder that, like, hey, there's so many people just like me, who dress like me, who talk like me, right? And they're Muslim just like me, right? And they're going through the same problems just like me. And ultimately, like, when we come together, we realize that, you know, I have a greater purpose in life. You know, why we're even here in the first place. We understand that, like, it's not going to be easy. I feel like if it wasn't for me having that weekly reminder, right, whatever the topic was, but just being in that gathering, I can honestly say, like, 100%, obviously I wouldn't be here having this conversation, but I wouldn't be involved, you know, it wouldn't be a priority for me to do things like prioritizing prayer, you know, prioritizing my relationship with my family, you know, prioritizing how I'm doing in my individual career, right? So why I'm literally shaped like who I am, like, as a person.
The diversity I experienced in Queens was truly special. Walking down these vibrant streets, you can almost imagine yourself strolling through a foreign country, smelling the scents of delicious, authentic food, and mingling with people of other cultures. Diversity is one of the things I love most about New York, and the Borough of Queens is its best example.